Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. I just finished up my first training session back since North Americans, probably at this point about a week or so ago. And I just today hit home on a point that I want to share with you all, and that's that getting back into the groove of training after a big competition and a big peak is probably going to be pretty miserable, and you're going to feel bad. It's one of those interesting phenomena, and I do plan to make another separate video on how you should approach post meet. I see a lot of people who max out again immediately after their competition to try and see what their true maxes are, or to play around or YOLO pull or whatever it may be. And I really deeply feel like that's a mistake, and that's something I've learned from my coach, Bill McCarthy, over the years. But if you truly think about it, you're peaking for a meet, and the whole idea of that is you should be the strongest on the day of competition. And kind of a byproduct from that peaking is, because you are tapering off the volume so much, and you've got that intensity up, you are preparing your body for high intensity singles, essentially. So whenever you get back post meet, your work capacity is probably going to be in the gutter, because you are trained to do those singles. So whenever you're getting back, you're probably going to be jumping into, and in my case, jumping into sets of 8 to 10 or more volume work in an attempt to build the base of that pyramid, so to speak, even wider for your next peak, which will be months down the line. So as a byproduct of your preparation for singles and lack thereof preparation for high volume and repetitions, once you jump back into that volume, you are going to feel terrible. So in the gym today, I just feel crushed. I had 4 sets of 8, and for good reason. They were using RPE rather than a percentage basis off of my max, because that's kind of taking into account that lack of work capacity. So I was strong enough to do more weight, but because of the repetitions, I essentially hit a wall. So I get this shaking, and I was sick to my stomach, felt like I was going to throw up for a little bit, extremely sore in my quads and hamstrings, even after like 2 or 3 sets of 8, which in the grand scheme of things is nothing, but because you're not prepared for it, or I wasn't prepared for it, it hit me like a train. And if you try and push it too quickly, I think so many people kind of get off of a competition, and trust me, I feel it too. You have all the momentum in the world, especially if the competition went really well. You just want to get back at it and crush it, but your body's not prepared. So it was easy in my mind for me to think, hey, I should be able to do X amount of weight for 8s. And physically, strength-wise, I could have, but because my body was just not efficient at getting rid of, I guess it would be the lactic acid in the muscles. There's this buildup of metabolites, basically trying to repair the musculature after those higher rep sets. I just feel like garbage. But as an experienced lifter, I know that I have to tamper those expectations down, and I did less weight than I otherwise would have thought I would have to do. And for that reason, I'm walking away good, and that work capacity comes back quick, but you have to be patient enough with it. So I fully expect next week, we'll add 20, 30, 40 pounds onto what I did this week, feeling about the same amount of crappy, but things moving about the same. Then the same thing for the next week, and it's probably going to take 2 or 3 weeks to get that pivot back and get the work capacity back into the system. But if I was not expecting this to go how it did, I could have pushed it a little too far, overestimated my strength. I just squatted 783 pounds at my competition. From an outside looking in perspective, squatting 475 for eighths should be nothing, but because I'm not prepared for it, that was the weight that it took to get that training response. And hey, that's part of the fun, right? But I could have easily loaded up 515, 525, 535, and what would have happened is I probably would have hurt myself because I would have gotten so sore, cramped. Maybe I would have pulled a muscle because it wasn't used to that work capacity. So that about does it. I'm going to try not to ramble here. I'm just collecting my thoughts, sitting in the AC after a tough workout, and it's good to get back at it. I just wanted to share this with you all, that no matter what level you are, fully expect that if you're not prepared for a certain rep range, you're going to feel like crap, and just take it in stride. Build sessions on top of each other, and next week I'll feel better, the next I'll feel even better, and before I know it, I'll have that work capacity to push the weights up there again. There's no rush, but it's very tempting with all that momentum coming off of a big competition and a big win to throw on a bunch of weight for the reps and try and rush things, and that's not how you get the job done. So take it patient. Thank you all for watching this far. Give it a like, comment down below. Do you feel that same way about the kind of post-meet blues, we'll call it, so to speak? And as always, subscribe if you haven't. And thank you for watching. Happy lifting.